When my sister-in-law Mary called me at 2:17 in the morning, I knew before I even picked up the phone. My mother had been declining for days. We'd been taking shifts at her bedside. But it was the sound I heard through the phone that stopped my heart. A wet, crackling noise I'd never heard before, like breathing through water. I drove to the hospice facility in the dark, convinced my mother was drowning in her own lungs. I burst through the door, ready to demand they do something, suction, medication, anything. The night nurse met me in the hallway. She was calm, unhurried. She put her hand on my arm and said, "She's not in any distress. That sound is much harder on you than it is on her." She was right. But here's what I wish someone had told me in the days before that night, what nobody seems to talk about. The way a person breathes in those final hours changes. It changes in specific, predictable patterns, and if you don't know what to expect, each one of those changes will convince you that something terrible is happening, when really it's just the body doing what the body knows how to do. I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to share a truth that can save you from the terror I felt that night. There are 7 distinct breathing changes that often appear as death approaches, and once you recognize them, you stop panicking. You start being present. You hold their hand instead of running for the phone. Why this matters? Nobody teaches us what dying actually looks like. We see it in movies, a few quiet breaths, eyes closing peacefully, a hand going limp. That version does exist, but there's another version too, a version that involves irregular gasping, long pauses between breaths, and sounds that will haunt you if you don't understand them. If you're sitting at a bedside right now, or if you're caring for someone in their final chapter, you need to know what's coming. Not because knowing makes it easier to lose them, nothing makes that easier, but because knowing lets you stop being afraid. Knowing lets you be there for them fully, without panic clouding every moment. That is the last gift you can give. And if you're here because you're preparing yourself, because you want to understand what this journey looks like before you're in the middle of it, you are doing something brave. Most of us avoid this conversation until we have no choice. You're choosing to face it. That matters. The first warning, Cheyne-Stokes breathing. The first breathing change that often appears, sometimes days or even weeks before death, has a name that sounds clinical but describes something deeply unsettling: Cheyne-Stokes breathing. Here's what it looks like. The breathing becomes deeper and faster over several breaths, almost as if the person is working to catch up on air. Then it gradually becomes shallower, slower, and then it stops entirely. For 10 seconds, 20 seconds, sometimes 30. And just when you're certain they've taken their last breath, it starts again. The first time you witness this, it will undo you. You'll hold your own breath, watching, terrified each pause is the final one. That's normal. That's human. But here's what you need to understand. This pattern is the body's way of conserving energy. It's not a sign of suffering. It's not a medical emergency. It's the body gently downshifting, like a car coasting to a stop. The pauses will lengthen over time. That's expected. The breaths between them will become softer. That's expected too. You are not watching something go wrong. You are watching something ancient and natural unfold. The second sound, the death rattle. This is the one that breaks people. This is the sound I heard through the phone that night. It has a terrible name, the death rattle, and for as long as humans have been dying, families have been traumatized by it. What it sounds like, a wet, rattling, gurgling noise with each breath. Sometimes it sounds like congestion. Sometimes it sounds like the person is drowning. It is not. Let me say that again because families need to hear it more than once. It is not drowning. It is not painful. Here's what's actually happening. As the body slows down, the swallowing reflex disappears. Saliva and normal secretions that we all produce, that we swallow unconsciously thousands of times a day, begin to pool in the back of the throat. The air moving past these fluids creates that rattling sound. The person is not aware of it. They are not struggling. The sound is much, much harder on you than it is on them. If your loved one is in hospice care, the nurses can help, repositioning them on their side, sometimes medication to dry up the secretions. But here's the honest truth. Even if nothing is done, they are not suffering. The brain has already begun to withdraw from these physical sensations. You don't need to fix this. You just need to know that it's normal. The third storm, agonal breathing. This is the breathing pattern that most closely resembles what people fear. Agonal breathing usually appears in the final minutes, sometimes the final moments. It looks like gasping, irregular, reflexive, almost like the body is fighting for air. If you don't know what this is, it will look like your loved one is suffering. It will look like they're drowning or choking. It will look like you need to call 911. You don't. Agonal breathing is a brainstem reflex. It's the most primitive part of the brain firing automatically because oxygen levels are dropping. The person you love, the person who knows your voice and feels your hand, is not conscious during this. They are not struggling. The gasping is mechanical, not emotional. It's the body's final automatic attempt to keep the machine running even after the driver has already left. This is often the hardest thing to witness. If you reach this moment, I need you to hear me. You did not fail them. You are not watching suffering. You are watching the body close its own door, and the body has its own way of doing that. Stay with them. Speak to them. They may still hear you. Hearing is often the last sense to go. Fourth, the letting go, mouth breathing, and the jaw. As the muscles of the face and throat relax completely, the jaw naturally falls open. Breathing shifts entirely to the mouth. The lips become dry, the mouth becomes dry. This can look distressing. It can look like thirst, like discomfort, like something that needs to be fixed. You'll want to give them water, you'll want to wet their lips, and you can. A damp cloth or a moistened sponge gently touched to the lips as a kindness for you as much as for them. But the truth is, the body at this stage is no longer processing fluids the way it used to. The kidneys have slowed or stopped. Trying to give water can cause more harm than good. What they need from you is not intervention, it's presence. Your hand on theirs, your voice in the quiet. The dry lips and the open jaw are not signs of distress, they are signs of deep, deep letting go. Fifth, the long silence, apnea periods. At some point, and this is different for every person, the pauses between breaths become longer than the breaths themselves. You may count 30 seconds, then 45, then a full minute with no breath at all. This is where most families break. You'll lean in, you'll watch their chest, you'll convince yourself that this is it, and then a single quiet breath will rise and you'll exhale along with them. These apnea periods are normal. They are not a crisis. They are the body gradually losing its rhythm, like a song winding down note by note. The gaps will grow. The breaths, when they come, will be shallower and farther apart. This is the natural progression. You don't need to time it, you don't need to measure it, you just need to be there. Sixth, the fading color, cyanosis and mottling. This is a visual change rather than a breathing change, but it's so deeply connected to the breathing that I need to include it. As the circulation slows, the extremities begin to change color. The fingertips, the lips, the toes. First, a bluish tint, that's cyanosis, caused by reduced oxygen in the blood. Then a mottled purplish pattern on the skin, often starting in the feet and moving upward. This can be as frightening as the death rattle. The person you love is changing color in front of you, and everything in your instincts screams that something is terribly wrong. It's not. It's the body redirecting its remaining resources to the core, to the heart and the brain, pulling back from the periphery like a retreating army burning bridges behind it. The hands and feet are being left behind first. That's by design. You'll want to cover them. Warm blankets, warm hands. These are acts of love, not acts of medicine. They may not feel cold, but you will feel better for the warmth you offer, and that matters too. 7th, the final breath. Here's what nobody tells you about the last breath. After all the noise, after the rattling and the gasping and the long, terrifying pauses, the final breath is often quiet, almost imperceptible, a small exhale, a gentle release. You might miss it. Many people do. They're waiting for something dramatic, something that looks like the end of a movie. But death is quieter than that, more ordinary. One breath rises and the next one simply doesn't. You will sit there holding your own breath, waiting. You will count seconds. You will watch their chest. And at some point, it might take minutes, you will realize that the silence is different now, that the room has changed, that they have gone. This is not failure. This is not abandonment. This is the body completing a process it has been practicing for millions of years. You were there. Your voice was the last thing they heard. Your touch was the last thing they felt. That is not nothing. That is everything. I think the reason we don't talk about these 7 changes is that they terrify us. We want death to look peaceful. We want a quiet drifting off, a gentle slipping away. And sometimes that happens, but sometimes it looks like Cheyne-Stokes and the death rattle and agonal gasping. Sometimes it looks like something you need to survive yourself. Knowing the difference, knowing what is distress and what is simply the body closing down, that is the difference between panic and presence, between terror and tenderness, between feeling like you failed them and understanding that you gave them the last and greatest gift. You stayed. Understanding how the body lets go is the greatest act of love you can give to both yourself and your family. It transforms what looks like crisis into what actually is, a sacred transition. What has your experience been? Have you sat at a bedside and heard something that frightened you? Have you navigated this journey and found wisdom you wish you'd had sooner? Please share your stories in the comments below. Your wisdom could be the lifeline someone else needs to read today. And if this message resonated with you, please like and subscribe. You'll help others find this conversation, and together we can redefine what it means to age with dignity.